Hey, welcome back everybody. Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to take a look at another budget keyboard. Now, the real question I have though is, are budget keyboards worth it? Which is a weird question to ask because generally budget means cheap, right? Budget means you're not spending a lot, so they're going to be, in a sense, more worth it than, let's say, a mid-range or even an expensive keyboard. Now, I have here today the Skyloong GK64. Now this is the wired version of their of this GK lineup. You can actually get this with Bluetooth and 2.0 like USB dongle, which is kind of cool, but I just went with the wired version for now because the person I'm building this for doesn't need wireless, or doesn't really prefer it. Now this keyboard, the Skyloong GK64, comes in at about $60 from Amazon. And that's a really good price. And the question I really just had is $60 really worth it? And I say this because after building so many budget keyboards, right? Like basically we've been doing nothing but budget builds on this channel, except for the first video, right? The first video, I mean, that was for me, and I decided to spend a little bit more money on it. So I went with a more mid-range, full metal aluminum case, gasket mounted, hot swappable, right? And that came out to be about $225 for just the DIY kit alone. Now comparatively, this Skyloong keyboard is $60 and it is plastic case, no gasket mount, it's a tray mount. And yeah, it doesn't even have wireless. It does have RGB, which is cool, but they are north facing LEDs, which, some people prefer. I haven't really noticed a difference since a lot of the keycaps that I've been using are not shine through. So it's really just, you're really not going to notice it too much. What's interesting is taking apart, and opening up this keyboard is that it's actually like pretty nice. What I like about it is that there's no like top case for it, which is really nice. You don't have to pry anything apart. Basically the keyboard or the PCB and plate are just mounted directly onto the tray. You can just see some of the screws there. You just unscrew it, pops right off, which is really nice. Now the keyboard does actually come with a really nice USB-C cable, which honestly this was a little surprising. I feel like this is almost higher quality than the keyboard itself, and it also comes with extra screws as well as a keycap and switch puller. And here's the interesting thing too, it actually comes with a replacement space bar mount, I guess, which is really interesting. Now if you look at the PCB where the space bar goes, instead of just the one that we're always used to, there's 3 different switch mounting points here. And I'm assuming that this is for other configurations, probably for other countries. So I think it's pretty cool that they actually add this in, because if you buy this and you're in a different country that doesn't utilize the standard, I think what we are, like the ANSI setup, then, or sorry, keyboard layout, then yeah, like this is good for you. So already, like, that's pretty cool just for $60. None of the other keyboards that I have even come remotely close to this option. You actually have to order that keyboard layout separately, so this is kind of cool. And yeah, so I don't really expect too much here. So after taking apart the keyboard, I say take apart, but it's really just these few screws, and you lift the plate out. We're greeted with some really thin foam stuff, which is not very good. You can see the gold washers that basically help mount it to the tray. And here's the really interesting thing. Now the plate foam, now this is not actually foam. So most keyboards come with plate foam that's actually like foam, right? It's usually really cheap. It's not anything high end. It's not like Poron or anything like that. Usually it's just this really cheap foam, and the whole idea for it is just to help deaden the sound a little bit. But this is more closer to, I don't actually know what material this is. This is actually closer to, I don't know, but it's like this rubbery form. It's more like rubber than anything. It's like this plasticky rubber, and it's pretty nice, honestly. Like it feels good. It surprisingly gives the keys a little bit of bounce when you type on it, so not too bad. So just like with everything, we're gonna basically build it out stock. We're gonna see what it sounds like. And today for the switches that we're using the JWick T1 tactile switch. I actually really like these switches. I think they're really good budget tactile. They sound really good, they feel really good, and they look really cool too. So we're just gonna use them here. As for the keycaps that we're using, my friend that I'm building this for, she really likes animals. She's a vet, and so I found these Shiba Inu keycaps, which are really cute. I think these are really nice. The keycap design is really solid, and the caps themselves are just really nice double shot PBT material. They're nice in that kind of like they feel very much like the Doraemon keycaps from a few videos ago. Really nice keycaps. Found these on Etsy. Definitely, I'll have a link in the description below. Check them out. Really good. And so yeah, let's just kind of see what this sounds like as is. Okay, so honestly, to be expected, this sounds kind of like the MMD87, 85, MD87, I can't remember. That was the one, the Final Fantasy VII build. Kind of sounds like that, right? The very plastically clacky, but still got a little bit of that weird, you know, that little bit marbly sound to it. So not too bad. I think we can probably improve this a little bit. You know, we're just going to do the standard things. We're going to just open this right up. Let's add in some Poron. Now I'm just gonna kind of stuff the bottom case with just a bunch of Poron. And now here's the interesting thing too. Because of the weird plate foam plastic rubber thing that's in there, because of that, there's some interesting bounce going on. So it's not quite the same as a gasket mounted keyboard or a gasket mounted plate. However, it's kind of like in that same direction. I decided for here, instead of just putting all the screws back, I'm actually going to mount it on the bottom to kind of give the upper end of the keyboard a little bit more bounce. We're going to kind of see how that feels, how that sounds. Now, I did notice that there's quite a bit of clacking in the space bar, and I think most of it is just due to the fact that these stabilizers just aren't very good. To be perfectly honest, so far I haven't really been able to get a plate mounted stabilizer to sound as good as a PCB mounted stabilizer. I don't really know what to do, but we're gonna try. I'm gonna stuff the bottom half where the space bar is with more Poron, and this time we're gonna be using some stabilizer bar foam. And so this I got off of kineticlabs.com, and this looks pretty cool. So this kind of goes where the bar is to kind of reduce some of that movement. I think that's kind of where some of that clack is coming from. And then also to help that a little bit more, I'm adding one of these PCB foam stickers. If you guys remember this from the last video, these are the Poron foam stickers. Adding this down directly onto the PCB. We can get to it because we just removed the spacebar module. And then yeah, you know, like, and as I said, I'm only gonna hold these in with the screws that are near the space bar. So we'll see how that is. And you know, I'm seeing a little bit of bounce there, which is kind of nice, and it makes for kind of a nicer typing experience. So let's just check out to see what this sounds like. Yeah, with the mods. Okay, so the space bar is still really clacky, and I don't really know what to do. I kind of took apart the stabilizer a little bit and tried to mess with it, But honestly, I think it's just something to do with like its rebound tone. It's just not very good. That's kind of what it sounds like. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to do about the stabilizers. I think in this case, if you're looking for just a good keyboard tone, you're probably going to just want to stick with PCB mounted stabilizers. The plate mounted stabilizers, there's just too much resonance, I think, with the plate itself. Maybe if I added some stickers around the edging, I don't know. I'm not really going to go too much into it. Again, as this person is not like a huge keyboard nerd, and it sounds okay. You know, comparatively to a lot of other keyboards that are out there, this sounds better than most. So I think this is okay. But yeah, like, it's so interesting. So to go back to the original question of like, are budget keyboards worth it? And in some cases I say yes, and in some cases I actually say no. Because if we look at, the overall cost of this budget keyboard, $60, and then you add in the switches, which are about $20, and then keycaps are about $50 to $70, we're still spending about $130, $140 here. Now, if you were to get, a lot of mid-range keyboards are around the $100 to $150 range, right? And some of these are not only gasket mounted, but they are also PCB mounted stabilizers. So we can already kind of like get rid of half of the issues here. Not to mention that with a lot of these budget keyboards, they don't come with a lot of mods themselves, right? Like there's no PCB foam, there's no extra foam, there's no like built-in tape mod or anything like that. You have to kind of do it yourself, which is cool, and it's fun. It kind of helps you learn, but at the same time, the quality control is going to be completely on your skill, right? So like, I'm new at this, I'm not really that good at it, and I admit, like, my skill at getting space bars that sound good, it's going to take some time. I'm going to need to figure it out, but for now it's just going to be what it is. And I think for me at my level, I think I would actually rather spend a little bit more money on just a good, nice keyboard that has options built into it already. Like take for example, the keyboard that I use myself, right? The CK827. Great keyboard. If you guys remember that video, it comes with a bunch of like different foam options. It even comes with a different plate, right? So it's not just the polycarbonate plate. It's got the, I don't remember what the plate is, but it's like the darker material. So really, really cool, right? So you can kind of switch things up a little bit. And I like that, right? I like the ability to just kind of like try things, and I can kind of really modify and kind of experiment with that keyboard as I go along, as I kind of figure out what I like about keyboards, right? Harder to do that with this because it doesn't have a lot of those built-in features, right? Also not gasket mounted, so it makes it harder for you to, work with like the plate and the PCB and stuff like that. So yeah, kind of interesting. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section below. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this build. I'll see you guys on the next one.